Greetings, music lovers. Angus Woodhead here. I'm here with my longtime friend, Gary Leahy.
G'day, Angus.
How are you, Gary?
Good, buddy. Good.
Welcome to Glasshouse Studios Studio B. So Studio B is our fully analogue studio with a 24-track 2-inch Studer tape machine, the Holy Grail. This is an A827. And we've got some beautiful modern and vintage gear. The centerpiece of the studio is the Kadak J32. They're a very highly regarded console, and we're using NS10s with subs. And there's all outboard. We've got a Lexicon 960L, a Roland, vintage Roland Space Echo, Tape Echo. There's a Yamaha Rev 1, Rev 7. There's more toys coming over in the Dynamics. We've got LA3As 1178. It's an old MXR there. Some Drama Gates, Acme, the older 90s, late 90s Distresses, some old Auburn gear. We're mixing down to a Tascam stereo recorder, high definition stereo recorder. We've got the SPL PQ as a 2-bus EQ and a Stam SSL bus compressor. And so Gary has been here mixing for the last 2 days, mixing a song. Gary, how have you found the experience of mixing on a console with outboard?
It's a lot different than digital.
Because you have your own studio in Nambour. Tell us a little bit about your studio.
It's a hybrid studio.
Yes.
It's consisting of, I just run through Pro Tools. I've got my outboard gear that I run into.
You browise, don't you?
Correct.
With the SSL X desk.
Correct, yes.
And some Dynamics, that's right, yes. But you're mixing in the box, aren't you?
100% correct.
With analog summing.
Correct.
Whereas here, everything is,
Analog.
You're on a console. So did you enjoy getting your hands on knobs?
I did. It was a different experience. It was for me, it was a lot quicker. Because you're not seeing things visual, it makes you actually listen.
Use your ears.
Correct. And even the numbering, like your frequencies on this particular board, only has about 3 or 4. So you really do have to use your ears as far as frequency is concerned.
Yes.
And also considering your cue as well. So it all comes down to ear rather than sight. When we do it in DAW, we get in the trap of looking at things visually rather than listening.
Very good.
So this here makes it feel like you perform, like you're at a live concert.
Well, as you were doing the mix and you had a couple of goes at the mix,
Yes.
It actually ends up being a performance. Just show us what you were doing, because you were actually writing faders and making adjustments and stuff, weren't you?
Well, I knew the client wanted the organ to be very dominant. So what I did, I pulled it back in certain sections, but where there was a bit of dynamics happening, I would automatically ride it up.
Ride the faders. Yes.
I would also do that on the snare when it gets to the cross stick, because generally speaking, the snare was too loud. As far
you mean
as
the cross stick was too loud?
Too loud, so I had to pull it back on the second go. And also, I wanted the piano to be up in the mix as well.
Yes,
the guitars took care of itself. The vocals took care of itself. The rest was most simply easy.
So tell us, so you had dynamics, so you've got compressors on certain elements.
Correct.
Just tell us what you were doing down there.
So what I did, I blended the distressor on the kick.
Top distressor on the kick?
Yeah, so I basically just had a medium release on the kick.
Yes.
Medium release on the snare, and basically a almost, well, medium to slow, medium to fast on the kick and on the snare as well. You could probably on the snare it was probably around about mid.
So the distressors, you were actually using them in parallel, weren't you?
Correct. And that gave me the punch that I needed.
The punch to the kick and snare.
Correct.
Okay.
And then the vocals.
The male vocal
came through here.
Yes.
This is one of Angus's great vintage.
That's the LA2A by Acme. Pretty nice unit, yes.
And then I did the bass on the bottom.
On the 1178.
On the 1178.
Yes.
And the second vocals.
The female vocal.
was running on channel A.
Yes, yes, beautiful.
And then what I did here in the LA3A,
you had guitars on those?
Had guitars on those, and yeah, and also some yes.
And backing vocals on the MXR.
Correct.
Yes, yes.
And then I ran it through the lead guitar or the slide guitar. I wanted a dreamy sound in the lead section.
Yes.
So I put the Lexicon
Hall reverb
on the 960.
Yes.
Right. And then also I did a little bit of throw delay on the guitar also on the
tape echo.
On the tape echo.
Did you use the tape echo on the vocals as well?
A little bit, very subtly.
Yeah, lovely, lovely. And you put vocals obviously through the 960 as well.
Correct.
So even though all these other effects are on, essentially did you just use one hall reverb and one tape echo?
Correct. And also a little bit of plate as well.
Well, the large wood room, did you end up using that? On the drums, the wood room?
Yes, I did. I actually did, yes.
Okay, yes.
So, yeah, I think I did.
Quite a famous patch.
Yeah, so that's it.
And did you enjoy mixing off tape?
It was different. It was different.
Do you notice a difference in the sound?
Yes, very much so. It's actually a little bit, I don't like to use the word warmer. I would say it's more controlled, right? You don't get the sharp edges.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I found too.
Yes.
Yes, it does a bit of the heavy lifting for us.
Yes, it
by
does.
running onto tape. I've been doing.
You can hear the compression a little bit.
Yes, that's right.
It just softens the transients a bit.
Yes, so we actually have a Pro Tools HD system in here as well, but the plan is to never even turn it on. It's in an old cheese grater Mac down there. That Neve there, by the way, is the effects returns and the parallel distresses returns.
It was certainly different. Pro Tools has its benefits, like you can loop things and things like that. It was just basically...
Well, you actually worked out how to loop the tape machine, didn't you?
It was pretty good. Look, if you ever get a chance, get yourself into a studio and just mix on a board and see what... It is so different than doing it on your computer.
Do you see
yourself
getting a console, perhaps?
One day.
If work
like
picks
all
up.
audio gear, they're always a little bit pricey.
They are expensive, yes.
But if I could afford it, definitely.
Well, Gary, it's been wonderful having you in, and we just had a quick listen to the mix in Studio A, and it is a beautiful sound. You've done you're a great mix engineer, and you're doing that full time now as a mix engineer, aren't you? So
yes, I retired from my old job.
So your studio is called Laid Back Studios. Just send me a message if you want to get in touch with Gary, and if you want Gary to do some mixing for you, he's very reasonably priced. And folks, there we go, Studio B with the tape machine. And we have another room next door, which is a tracking space where I'm tracking drums and bass and guitars and different things. And Gary, any final words to our viewers?
Well, to use the famous phrase from Molly Meldrum, if you ever get a chance to mix exclusive analog, do yourself a favour and do it just once in your life. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Good on you, Gary. See you
back
later.
to Pro Tools I go.